wanted to be an Alpha since I was in high school, and nobody understands how much I love Alpha Phi. And now someone wants to say my Finsta because I said, you know what? I don't care if it's Martin Luther King Day.
College campuses across the U.S. are subject to many controversies, spanning from sexual assault, protests against Confederate statues, and fraternity hazing. Among these issues is the extremely evident racial discrimination on campuses.
Last spring, the University of Oklahoma received national scrutiny because of a racist chant by two fraternity members.
The issue can take on many different forms and points of view within the educational community. While in some instances it may seem easy to get to the bottom of one issue or controversy, opinions and experiences with race relations on campus remain split between several separate stakeholders.
The number of Americans who feel race relations are bad in America is at an all-time high. 69% of Americans say race relations are bad. That is
whether it be from the students' personal stories, teachers' accounts, or the inner workings and events surrounding fraternities and sororities, the issue of race relations on campus remains entirely prevalent today.
So I'm Tanner Underwood. I'm a current teaching assistant here at Northern Illinois University, and I'm a PhD candidate for English.
Do you think racial discrimination a pressing issue on college campuses?
Yes, I do. I think that, it's a pressing issue everywhere, but particularly on college campuses. I've found that in my own experience, I tend to give less benefit of the doubt to students who are African American or Hispanic, both in terms of late work and believing excuses and those kinds of things. So I know for myself, I have problems with discrimination, and it's interesting because it's not something that I consciously want to do. I think it's built into to my my genetic makeup in a way.
If there is a problem here, do you think it would be more socially or more like in a classroom setting?
I mainly have to speak for myself here. In the classroom, I mentioned I think that I'm not always as fair to minority students. And that's something I consciously try to work on because I hate it. I really do hate it. I don't know, my general experience throughout college and as a teacher has sort of been that people do tend to separate themselves based off of the color of their skin, generally. Not always the case.
According to this interview with Tanner, we can conclude that since he, being a teacher, that teachers have discriminated students based off race or ethnicity. As he said, it's something that comes naturally to him. Clearly, this is an issue because he believes it is built up into his genetic makeup. It's not built in, but it comes so naturally to humans to discriminate by race, so some people don't see it as a problem. Other people may disagree, though.
Hi, I'm Andrew Sia.
Do you believe there are race relation problems on campus?
No, I don't. I think that it's a very diverse campus and people are more accepting of each other just of how society is today.
Are you friends with any African American students other than myself?
Yep. There's a lot of guys in my fraternity who are African American, and I'm pretty good friends with a lot of them.
In your opinion, what do you think the relationship between whites and blacks on campus is like?
I think it's pretty normal. The way it is for me is the relationships are the same, and as I would be friends with anyone else, I don't really think race plays a factor in how people talk to each other.
And have you ever witnessed discrimination in the classroom?
No, I have not.
Hi, I'm Allie Kanzler. I'm a freshman here at UK.
Do you believe that there is a race relations problem on campus?
I personally don't think so. I've never witnessed any kind of discrimination in my classes or anything. I don't think so, no.
Do you think there's racial discrimination in Greek life?
Well, I'm well aware of the reputation that may come with, Greek life, especially Alpha Phi, considering, what happened to Alabama. But from what I can say that here at UK and being an Alpha Phi, we've never had that problem here, considering my chapter is really accepting of everybody, no matter the race or background.
Besides in the classroom, do you think there's any racial problems anywhere else on campus socially?
Coming from a social perspective, I can definitely see the issue being more prominent, if that makes sense. I've noticed that one thing that UK can work on, I think, is to better integrate people from different backgrounds and kind of mesh people together. I think that UK is working towards adding some more diversity, but I think that still, coming from a social perspective, I think that I still can see the clickiness in how, at UK and how groups tend to stick, to people that are similar to them.
According to this interview with Allie, some students do not believe that there is a racial problem. It's easier for students not to realize in the classroom because they are not focused on the problem. It's easier for teachers to realize in the classroom since they are the ones in charge of the issue. To go deeper in, students realize that it is a social problem. Students tend to stay with friends with people of the same race or ethnicity, and there is not a lot of diversity. Although in Greek life, people have different opinions.
I've dealt with things like being stopped coming out of the Mizzou store in the student center because the alarm went off as I was leaving the store. Everybody looks at me and it's like, you have to come here, we have to search your bag. Meanwhile, white students are walking past and the detector is going off after each one, and I watched all of them get told, oh, you're fine, keep going.
In a nutshell, race relations throughout every college campus in the United States is going through a dramatic change. People are realizing the issue is detrimental to the students it is affecting, which is usually African American students on predominantly white campuses. Our research we have done proves the race discrimination that takes place on college campuses. The research also shows how this is affecting students. The issue needs to be addressed more to assist students of color on a better college environment.
Conversations about race and privilege is definitely more of an opportunity to bridge us together than taking us apart, because we're acknowledging how we're feeling in situations, our experiences, and just talking about those allows us to self-reflect and step into the shoes of somebody else, and to really take some time to actively listen to the experiences of others, whether they are experiencing privilege or experiencing oppression. Really taking that time and having those difficult conversations, even when you feel uncomfortable and don't know what to say, to simply acknowledge that that is somebody else's experience is a very powerful moment in that type of dialogue.